Hello everyone, in this lecture we're going to talk about a very important concept in Power BI, that is the calculation context. First, let's brush on what context actually means. So, from the dictionary, context means the circumstance that forms the setting for an event, statement, or idea, and in terms of which it can be fully understood and assessed. It means exactly that for calculation. Let's look at an example. Say that when you're leaving home, your mom said, "Hey, we're out of milk. Could you grab some from the supermarket on your way home?" If you think about this request, it's missing a lot of information. First of all, which market should I go to? Is it the one in Italy, in the United States, in North Korea? My mom didn't say. Secondly, it didn't say which type of milk to get. Is it the whole milk, 2%, or skim? With this important information missing, it is incomplete and we cannot execute this request. But have you ever said, "Sorry mom, your request is missing critical information, therefore I cannot execute it"? I guess not, because if you ask stupid questions like this, your mom would be taking you to the doctors to see if there's anything wrong with you. Okay, jokes aside, why can you make your mom happy by bringing back milk without asking seemingly stupid questions? That is because you have context. You lived in your house for many years, so you have the geographical context. That is, you know which supermarket you should go to. So you have the supermarket context. That solves the supermarket problem. In addition, you have been living with your family for many years and have drunk hundreds of liters of skim milk. So you know you should get skim milk. So there is skim milk context. There you go. You have every answer you needed. By combining all these contexts with the instruction given by your mom, you have everything you need to complete the task. In Power BI, or specifically DAX, they use the same principle. The only difference is you, being an intelligent creature, works with 10, even hundreds of implicit contexts. And DAX, being just a data analysis language, it just works with the data context. So for sure, you can master DAX. There's no doubt. Alright? Calculation context is really just a technical jargon. After finishing this lecture, you can use that jargon to your advantage. You would be able to drop some fancy context bombs when talking to your friends. Calculation context means the rows and columns to be included in the calculation. Furthermore, we work with two-dimensional tables, so you can think of the context as which table cells or table values to be included in the calculation. Now we have established what calculation context means. Let's take a look at how it is applied to the measures. Here we have a very simple measure, net sales. Net sales measure is just the total of sales amount minus the total of withdrawal amount. In terms of context, first, the default context for the measure is all the columns and rows in that table. So for the net sales measure, the table is the simple table. So this would include all the rows and columns in the simple table. But we asked for only the sales amount column and withdrawal amount column. So that means we're looking at all the rows and only the sales amount column and withdrawal amount column. Okay, that is the default behavior. Of course, context can be modified by variables and filters. This is extremely important. This is what makes Power BI so powerful in terms of manipulating the data to your need. We can change the behavior of the measure by modifying the context this measure is calculated on, okay? We will learn more about that in the later lectures. Now, let's switch our focus to the calculated columns. A calculated column has a very special type of context called row context, okay? What that means is the special thing about a row context is that it is implicit. That means it's not in the statement. If you look at this calculated column here, net sales equals sales amount minus withdrawal amount, we don't have any special function to show that, hey, we want to include a row context. It's not there. That's why it's implicit. Okay, so implicitly, it's telling each of the row how to calculate net sales. We're referring to the sales amount column here. we're referring to then the withdrawal amount column, which is here. And it knows that for each row, which value to take, right? So in order to calculate net sales for the first row, it knows I should only look at the first row's data. And then I want to take the sales amount and withdrawal amount, which is this value 1 and this value 0.5. How do I know that? That is because when I perform the calculation, my context is limited to only the first row. So there's no doubt which number I should take. It's this one for sales, this one for withdrawal. Same goes when I'm doing this calculation for the other rows. Let's say for the second row, then the context would have moved to the second row. And I would know that the sales amount, I only have one value, $4.2. For withdrawal, I only have one value, $4.8. So I know which value to use to perform the calculation and store the result here in the net sales. And I repeat this for each of the rows. You see that to perform this kind of row by row calculation, it has to have a row context that limits the numbers that you consider when you're performing this formula, right? That's why the calculated columns has a row context and it's implicit, okay? But of course, there are ways we can get out of this row context and refer to the values in the other rows when we are calculating for, let's say, the first row. We can actually use values from the second row or even the third row or even all the other rows, okay? But more about that in the later lectures. For now, we should remember that calculated columns has a row context and it's implicit, all right? And measures do not have row context. The default context for the measures is everything, okay? So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you didn't get confused with all the context talk. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the course discussion board. And also, thank you for taking this course and making it this far. I really want to know which parts you liked about this course and also which part you hate about this course. If you have any thoughts, feel free to leave it in the course review. Alright, I will see you in the next lecture. Bye!